Right.
All right, we're going to go ahead and keep it moving. So welcome back. We got segment 2 rolling out with the crush. We've got Mr. Takeo Spikes here with us today. Thank you again for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
All-American Pro Bowl selection. You played for 5 different NFL teams. You've been a team captain 13, out of 15 times?
Yeah, 13 out of 15 years.
Let's start with your leadership skills and abilities. Why do you think that you were captains of those teams? What did you bring to them?
When you ask me that question, I go all the way back to my second year when I was first voted captain of the Cincinnati Bengals, and it's crazy. I don't know. It was, I think when guys looked at me at that time, they just knew I wasn't going to do anything to jeopardize the majority. And I had my mindset when I came onto the field, when I walked into the building, it was, how can I get better today? And how can I help us win more games? That was the only thing I was concerned with. And so I don't know if, it was a bad time in Cincinnati. We lost a lot of games. They lost a lot of games before I got there. But I just think my work ethic, the way that I carried myself, and even though things didn't go the way that we wanted them to go on Sunday for the majority of the time, I would always be the same guy. I never would change. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of guys told me that. So I think that's the reason why that started it off in my early years.
Well, it probably don't hurt that you, 2-time All-American in college, heat-seeking missile basically while you was at Auburn.
Yeah.
The Auburn days, man. You were a killer. Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you this story though. We talked about chasing greatness earlier. I was so focused on being great, I never really knew how good I was when I was playing at Auburn until I left. Because I wanted to get to that next level so bad, and if somebody told me good job, I felt like they setting me up. Spike, don't you believe it? And so I brainwashed myself to really think like, nah, that ain't good enough.
That's good. That's a good attitude to have.
You know, and I never knew it until I actually left.
Coming from Sandersville, Georgia, small town, playing in those days, what was the drive? You won championships in high school, we understand that. We'll keep it going,
Yeah.
But what was the drive for greatness for you too? Because a lot of us, when we grow up in those little small areas like we did, it's a different mentality we had to get up out of there. What was your item? Was it your family? Was it your surroundings, or just wanting to be great? What was it that got you to getting out of Sandersville to the NFL?
It was a consistent, when you look around, growing up as a youngster, you stand on the street corner. That's what you do. I don't know if you know me about that. But, you stand on the street corner and you hear the stories of the has-been,
right,
of the Washington County legends. And you grow up and you listen to them and you be like, man, he used to be that dude.
He was that dude, that deal.
He was about to say something else.
Yeah, I was.
He was that fire.
But, shortly after that, it turned into, all right, I don't want to be, how can I be a little different? How can I be legendary? I couldn't articulate that, but I knew I wanted to be something bigger. And so, in a small town like that, it just turned into, whatever I saw on TV that I thought that was success, I was going to try to get it. And so I would just stay so focused, do a lot of little extra things. I would watch film, didn't even know what I was watching. But I would just turn it on and just keep watching it until something resonated with me.
But nobody else was doing it.
When nobody else was doing
it, right?
Listen, I even tell you this. A lot of people don't know this. I'm breaking this out here. I was so dedicated and committed. I remember during football season, I wouldn't even think about having a girlfriend. Like I wouldn't. Like we can have one afterwards. But after that, I was just so focused on the moment.
Don't go there.
I'm not.
What you got to say?
I'm gonna let it go. He's our guest. I do not offend him. Anyway, speaking of offending people, I'm gonna take it back to the Auburn days. I'm an ACC girl. he played in the SEC.
Yeah.
I heard you went to the SEC championship and lost to Peyton Manning. Is that true?
Did. Yeah.
Did you ever get revenge on him
That
in
was
the
heartbreaking.
NFL at any point, or try to?
We tried to, maybe once, but he, not only did Peyton have my number, he had everybody's number. It was just, it was hard. But I tell you what, that was one of the best games one of the better games that the SEC championship has ever hosted. Peyton's last game, so many guys on both teams, especially Tennessee, that went on to the pros and had great careers. You look at like a Peerless Price, Travis Henry, Cozy Coleman, Leonard Little, but it was like, that was probably one of my most dominating games that I ever played in college football, and it happened on the stage to where everyone was watching.
Was that transition from high school to college, was that tough for you? Did you adjust well? You know, a lot of athletes have issues when they go from one level to the next, you know, from college to pros or high school to college. How was that for you?
It was,
Yeah, remember way back when?
you know, it wasn't that long ago.
Wow.
The transition from high school to college,
Yeah.
no, it wasn't that hard. For me, I didn't want to be
5,000 to 80,000.
no, because this is what motivated me. The reason why it wasn't hard, because we hear of, you good in high school, but what you gonna do when you get to college? So for me, in my mind, it doesn't take much to get me going. I was thinking, I'm not leaving home and then I'm gonna be labeled as a bust. We don't do that where I'm from. So, you know, hell, I was so even afraid of flunking out, I made the dean's list the first two semesters. First two, we was on the quarter system back then. I made the dean's list, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, damn, I made it. You know what I'm saying? So it was, I wanted to change my circumstances. You know, I didn't want to go, if I went back home, I wanted to go back home to visit.
Right.
You know, and try to inspire and pick other people up. I didn't want to go back home because someone sent me back home.
Now, I'm a diehard Cowboy fan. When you joined the Eagles that season, you were a menace. You were a menace. Why you didn't join the Cowboys? I mean, cause we tried to get you.
It was all about supply and demand.
Okay, I can feel that.
And I want to say, I think that year they ended up, I think they signed Dak Wynn back or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm still mad about that.
Yeah, I think they say I asked for too much money.
Really, Jamie? Really, Jamie?
You know what I'm saying? So,
Let me take you back to Takeo.
hey, they'll do anything not to pay you, man. That's what it is.
Let me take you back to Takeo. Draft day, and your name was called. How was that feeling? And tell us, just go through that day with us. Just the feeling around where you was at, and just when your name was announced from Cincinnati. What was that feeling like?
It was long, man. I went, and it really wasn't that long. I was the 13th pick, first round for the Bengals, and I remember I had my draft party at Planet Hollywood in San Francisco, and you know, a lot of press, media was there, and I knew I could go as early as 6,
Right.
or be honest with you, I thought I was going to Atlanta. And when I was sitting there, I remember receiving a call at pick 10. Atlanta had pick 12, and they was like, hey, would you want to play for the Falcons? And I'm thinking to myself, would I? You asking this dumbass question? Call me back at 12 and I'll tell you. That's what I was thinking. I ain't say that though.
Come on, let's go.
But and then when it got to the 12th pick, you know, you could see it, the cameras were behind me, and they said with the 12th pick of the NFL draft, the Atlanta Falcons select linebacker. And I stood up and I'm like, oh, from Georgia Tech, Keith Brookins.
Yeah, I remember like yes.
Man, it was like somebody took the wind out of my
Yeah,
sail.
took it out of me too.
Man, I was lost in sea, bro. I was lost in sea. And I remember then I put my head down, I looked at my agent and I say, Sims, who has the next pick? The phone rung as soon as I said that. Cincinnati Bengals. But you know what? It was a glorious feeling because, like, people ask me how is it or how was it to play in the NFL? I tell them, man, it was a childhood dream that came true. It really was, because, like, for me, my father, he worked his ass off in the chalk mines down in that area, Kaolin. And for me to have an opportunity, knowing what he went through growing up as a kid, segregation days, had to quit school because his family would have been kicked out of the house if they didn't work for the people who owned the house, what they allowed them to stay in. So for me, it was like, I made it, I'm gonna retire my father because he deserved this. You know what I'm saying? So that was the big thing for me.
Speaking of your father, he passed away while you were still playing. How did you get through those times? You missed a few games, but how did you get through that? How hard was it for you mentally?
Yeah, it was tough. It was real tough now looking back at it, going through it. Because I remember I used to be in Cincinnati. As soon as we play a game on Sunday, I would jump on a plane, fly home to Atlanta. Then I got to drive 2 hours to my home to see my father. And so it really took a toll on me just mentally. And but I fought through. I just knew it. I was like, man, it just can't be this bad forever. And I knew eventually, as much as we did not want to accept it, I just knew it was going to happen. And so I think that gave me peace when it finally happened, because I knew then at the time he didn't have to suffer anymore.
Now, your San Diego days, man, you seem like you enjoyed the West Coast, but that San Diego weather, it's like it was real good for your career, because you was getting it in while you was in San Diego.
Yeah, I was. That's one of the things that I was proud of, is still being productive so late in my career like that. The San Diego days, that was years 14 and 15, right. And then the Cali years of San Francisco was 08 through 010. But it was cool because I experienced the NFL now. Like when people say, like, man, I really don't even know, I just played for one team. I mean, I would have loved to play for one team.
Right.
But listen, I have no regrets at all, because I lived in some small markets, a pretty, decent sized market as far as sports. But then the cities, from Cincinnati, Buffalo to Philly, San Fran, love San Francisco, love the diversity out there. That was like really a time for me to really kind of just see how any other cultures, get along.
Weather didn't hurt either.
Weather didn't hurt at all either, brother. When I knew I could deal with San Francisco or just Cali, it was Christmas. We walked out to practice and the temperature was 71 degrees. I said, Lord, I got to get some of this long term.
I heard you had a dance when you was in San Francisco, a little sack dance you used to do.
For real?
Uh-huh.
Really?
That's what I heard.
Have you guys heard that?
Yeah, I just want to see it.
So rumor has it.
Rumor has it that you can dance. That you had a dance every time you made a sack.
I used to do different dances.
Can you show us one?
No.
Please.
Rumor also had that the Takeo chain might come back, might make a comeback.
Well, hey, you know what? The 90s is coming back.
The TKO chain was epic.
Hey, listen, man, that was your seal of approval.
You had that TKO with though, man.
Hey, I was iced. I was so flagrant. Tam, you probably was like, "Is that you?"
Yeah. You go back to some. Yeah.
I need to see these pictures.
Yeah. Oh.
That's not the person.
Let me ask you this though: when did you know? When you got? 15 years is a long time, especially as a linebacker.
Yeah.
Right. Out of all positions, 15 years is a long time. When did you just say, "All right, man, I'm done"? I know 15. Why not 16?
It was 16 was close. Because at the end of 15, I walked away saying, man, I still haven't made it. I got to win me a championship. But I knew at the time, earlier that year, I ended up tearing my bicep. And I knew if I would have had surgery, it would have, nobody wants damaged goods, especially when you're that many years in the game. So I was like, I'm not going to have surgery. After that year was over, the next year came, and I remember St. Louis, the Rams, and Jacksonville, they gave a call. And I was like, man, these guys still bad teams. You know, and I was just like, I'm not. Mentally, I just couldn't do it anymore.
Right.
I just said I'll wait. Hopefully, nobody gets hurt. But in case if they do, I'll be ready. And so I still train. I prepared as if I was getting ready to go in training camp that next season because you never do know what's going to happen. And I never got the call. Did I want it to end that way? No. But at the end of the day, very few people can say that they had a great run at it from 15 years.
15 years is a long time, especially, like you said, for your position. Now, I did read somewhere as well that you went 219 games without a playoff appearance.
Yep.
How frustrating. It seemed like every team that, like, right after you left, they would make the playoffs. How frustrating is that? Like, what did you think? No, I want to know. You know, we all athletes.
No.
Athletes. I want to know that feeling, like what he was thinking.
It was, that's actually not true though. You know how everybody say when you left in, that's when it turned around. Looking back at it, Cincinnati, it was just so, it was a lot of pieces of the puzzle that were missing. One mainstay that I always had in my career, I never had a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? I never had one. You know, up until my last year when I got to San Diego. But San Diego, they had not made the playoffs the 2 years prior before I got there because they were going through rebuilding.
Right.
And then a different GM was coming in soon too. So it was like they were just it was match play. Let me pick and plug something. So, but the thing that I do look at, well, why it was so frustrating because that's why I played the game. You know, you play for the payday.
Right.
Once you get your payday, you know, then it becomes more obvious if you want to be a legacy piece in this thing. You know, you gotta have something on your legacy. And so I knew I wanted to win a championship. And so it was frustrating. Remember, we were talking about it earlier. I was saying I used to just try to chase greatness because I wanted to taste success that much. And that's the reason why I would leave. But at the same time, the reason why teams would bring me on is because they always had a young team at that time.
Need a leadership piece.
And every time that I came in, which I didn't see it at that time, I was really raising those young babies into who they are, just as if somebody raised me when I came into the locker room. And so I'm proud of the fact that a lot of guys who I played with, they're still playing now, because I know a lot of it was up to them, but I gave them a lot of stuff too. So it was very bittersweet. You know what I mean? Bittersweet.
Who was that guy for you when you came in, who kind of took you under the wing?
Yeah, Von Booker, defensive end, Willie Anderson. He was another Big Will. You know, he was another guy. Big Stu. He was another guy who was very good to me because not only did we play at Auburn together, but he had 2 years ahead of me when he came into the draft. So he made the transition easier when I got to Cincinnati.
Auburn guys take care of each other, baby.
Got to.
Yeah.
We talk about legacy and leadership with you, and I can say that you are one of the professional male athletes that I do appreciate how you present yourself and things that you do. You have your TKO camp there, you know, where you mentor students and kids and help their dreams become reality. You also have your book here, Behind the Mask. Are you still searching for that legacy? Are you still trying to leave that legacy in a different way? Because you've obviously had a great NFL career, a long, illustrious one. Is this still a part of your legacy?
Yeah, for me, I've always felt like, you know, my story will be done when I say it's done. I'm the author of my own autobiography, so I still have work to do. You know, I have work to do with Behind the Mask. I want to keep letting everybody know about it because, you know, it's bigger than just making $1. You know what I mean? I'm trying to go out and inspire people who really needs it, because people wake up every day. The reality of it is they're unhappy. They're unhappy with their jobs.
They don't like what they do, right?
You know, and even if they may be qualified to do something else, they stuck in a position and they just feel like, why am I doing it? So, you know, that feels like that's my purpose. My greater purpose is to not only educate but to inspire.
Takeo, so 15 years, Auburn, Sandersville, how would you, and if you could sum up your career on the field, how would you sum it up?
Small kid from Sandersville, earned a degree from college at Auburn, played 15 years, talked about the book. I'm just going through all of this in my head. How would I summarize it? Yep. Went back to school and got my master's from the University of Miami. Well, not University of Miami, but the U. So I would say life is pretty damn good, bro. I can't even lie to you. You know, it is pretty good. You know, I always want more.
Right.
Just how I'm wired, but you know, if I take a step, if I just slow down for a second and smell the roses, they're smelling pretty good right now.
You left out when my dad wanted me to make sure to tell you this. You absolute dog on the field. You one of those guys. My dad was like, "Hey, that's how you play football."
Tell your pops, I appreciate it.
Because
I was trying to touch your soul, but I was gonna hurt you.
Jamal Lewis said that that's how you work. Jay Lewis said, "You don't want no problems."
And he was tough.
Yeah.
How can people follow you on Instagram? What's your Instagram?
People can follow me on Instagram, Takeo Spikes 51. Twitter, the same thing, Takeo Spikes 51. We got to keep that consistent. Facebook, not all that savvy with Facebook, but you still can follow me on it at Takeo Spikes. Is that? Do you say at?
Yeah.
No, just put my name in there. You'll be able to see.
Pablo. He verified.
Yeah.
Well, on behalf of my co-host, Mr. E. Glaze and Maceo Hurd Takeo, we would like to thank you so much for joining us today. I am Tab Turner, and that is all we have today for Rolling Out with the Crush. Join us again 2 Thursdays from now. We'll have another special guest for you. Peace out, guys.
All right.
Bam.
Wham, bam.
Good work. Good work.
I like this.
Look, I got
in and out.
that camera right there